has really opened the door on areas of our society that really needed attention and have essentially been slow to get it. Long-term care homes, for example, and other things in our society as a whole. And I think that we are trying to address those now, and we are putting in place recovery plan and retooling, all of these things. We have to ensure that all of our interests are taken into consideration. I organized a forum a couple of weeks ago where I invited the Premier of Ontario, the Finance Minister of Ontario, the Education Minister of Ontario, to address, along with the Canadian Black Business Chamber and the BBPA and a number of other community groups and organizations, to address some of the issues that are affecting our community, as well as to ask to ensure that we're at the table as part of the process, right? Because we need to make sure that our issues are brought forward. I don't believe that there are people standing in the way to say that our issues should not be brought forward. I don't believe that for one moment. And I don't believe that people are discriminating against us to say that our issues are not important. What I think is important and should be done is that we have to articulate what our issues and concerns are. Because many other people are busy articulating what their own personal concerns and community concerns are. How do we expect them to have time for our concerns and our issues? Because they're dealing with their own. And so it comes down to, we're smart people, like super smart. We understand, yet we don't always want to take a position or move forward. I've been trying to encourage many of the people that I deal with to take an interest, an active interest in affecting the changes that they want to see. And the reason why I've been trying to do this is that I don't believe that the system is so fundamentally structured that it is fundamentally opposed to our interests. I believe that we have to articulate what our interests are, because we have friends in many different places. And they are interested in our welfare as well. And they may not look like us. They may not be of the same ethnicity. But I will tell you that they're not disinterested, even all of the leaders I know, all of the politicians I know. It's just that we don't articulate sufficiently what our concerns are. So shows like yours, or both your shows, is helpful to create that window and that opportunity of providing information so that people can get that. And then we can actually be our own ambassadors or advocates of our own interests. Because it is not for us.
It's for our children.
It's for our children. We need to make sure that we do a lot of the heavy lifting for them, because they have to live in a time that is dramatically different than the time that we, came into being in picking up sort of our tools and the skill set that we need for society. It's much more complicated. It's faster. The resources are abound, but it's not always within the context of our environment. But we have to make sure that we can do better. And I do believe that we can do it. It's that we have to be organized to doing it, and we have to help each other, lift each other up, not be of the view that I am the only one that should succeed, and if you succeed, I'm opposed fundamentally to you. It can't be that way.
I agree, 100%. And I think we all have to do our part in speaking out more and coming together to have these type of forums so we can have this open dialogue. So we need to be speaking to leaders such as yourself and the John Tories and the Doug Fords and stuff like that, and having them heard.
And the Prime Minister.
And sure.
And also, your local councillor, your local MPP, and your local MP. Because I do believe, with all sincerity and all honesty, that they care and they're actually interested. What they need to hear is your views and your concerns. They may not be able to deal with them all at once in the sense that give you sort of a full answer, but at least a process and a dialogue can start to engage. And then the expectation of having something come back to you and so on. So I honestly believe that in our political environment, there's a great opportunity, particularly the post-pandemic opportunity that will come. And we need to make sure that we are part of the solutions in order to address concerns. And by the way, I'm not just simply saying that we are only trying to address African Canadian issues.
Right.
We have other views and comments and ideas around everyone.
Yeah, good.
And how we integrate and how we work together as a just, fair, and equitable society.
Yeah. Yes.
We have ideas, and we should be part of that collective to bring those ideas forward. It's not just for us, it's for all of us.
I love that.
Speaking of post-pandemic, in your opinion, when do you think we will get to a post-pandemic? A lot of people are thinking, and they're hoping for, the end of June or July. I don't think that's realistic.
You have a crystal ball,
right? I mean, I say 2021 to be honest, but what are your thoughts on post-pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think if anyone told you today that they have the answers, I will say to you, don't buy the snake oil. I don't really know. We're all hopeful of flattening the curve and seeing this pandemic, in the rearview mirror. I think until such time a cure comes, right, we are still, if you will, in uncharted territory as such.
Right.
We've seen there are second waves coming in certain areas where we've had the first wave, and we have not completed the first wave yet here. We've seen the numbers spiking up recently. And so we are now going into June. And, from all of the information that I have received, whether or not it's from medical officer of health, all the reading I've done and looking at other parts of the world, they're saying, you need at least a minimum of 2 weeks straight where you see a complete, flattening and reduction and so on before you can start thinking about, we're out of the woods. Now, I have spoken to folks in Turkey. I've been on calls with Taiwan. I've been on conversations with Romania. I've been in conversations with a number of other places around the world over the last number of weeks. Now, people talk about certain different things, and people talk about Taiwan, for example. Taiwan's an island, right? They were able to shut things down very quickly. And people say to me, some of my community members say, well, you guys should have shut things down 3 weeks earlier. Probably, but we just didn't know what we didn't know, right? And so we worked with the best information that we've had. The point I was simply making is that different places have done different things. I was speaking to some folks in Romania last week, and they're saying, in Romania, basically you couldn't go out anywhere. Like, you had the military and the police. And if you were to go to the store, you needed to have a document, that it was really, really difficult.
Right.
And a lot of people were arrested and so on. And in our situation, we were basically told to stay home to try to arrest this virus. And if you needed to go to the grocery store, you needed to go, but protect yourself. And so if you needed to get, something from the pharmacy, you would do so. I'm glad that the province and the leadership of Premier Ford, where he basically decided that, okay, these are essential services that needed to happen, right, and these are not. And then we went through a whole situation where you continue to refine and reduce the number of essential services. I mean, you think of it, a box manufacturer was considered an essential service. Why? The company that's making the product that goes into the box that you need to be delivered to the grocery store or the hospital needed to have the box, right? So why would they not be deemed essential for this particular purposes and so on? So there was a lot of work that went into that. And I will say, because I really want to commend the leadership of Premier Ford, I will say to you, his business and acumen and his experience came in really handy at a time when Ontario needed someone to lead the province. And I think he's done a remarkable job, quite frankly, leading the province. So is the mayor. The mayor's done a remarkable job as well. So is the prime minister. And all of us as politicians have been working really hard, to provide information to our communities, to be out there at the risk of our own health, some of us being out and doing things today, right? But I think, you know, at the end of the day, you know, I've expressed to my own family, you've got to stand for something. You've got to be willing to die for something, right? I'm willing to die for my community.
And Michael, I have to tell you, I'm going to stop you because I know that you have been out to the hospitals, retirement homes, all of that. Like you are active, you are out there. I even saw you with Jamal Magloire. Like, good on you, you know, for really, and you know, other MPPs. I see you. So we know you are out there doing what you have to do, and as well as the other, you know, deputy mayors and councillors and whatnot. So we definitely thank you, appreciate it. It's needed, necessary. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you very much.
One last thing before we wrap up is, as it gets warmer, I personally don't see things getting better with the gathering. Right. So what do you propose that the government does about that? Do we get stricter laws? Do we get more police out there policing? Because it's going to get warmer. People are going to want to go to those cottages. You saw last week, the long weekend, they were out there, right?
Well, yeah. So, you know, look, I really think our population are people who get it. Mm-hmm. And I think the Bell Trinity Wood Park situation is one of those things, but we need to find answers for those. I think people have a lot of common sense here. I don't think it's about stricter rules or laws. I think it's really about communications, and maybe even better communications. Right. I know that the Premier has indicated that he says, you know, look, people can go to their cottages, so as long as you realize, and I think some of the mayors in some of the cottage countries have said, look, you know, we really, while I've heard some say we don't really want you here, others have said, look, if you do come, bring all your supplies, bring all the things that you need. And again, you still follow the social distancing and so on, and making sure that you keep to yourself. I mean, I think just to salvage some element of summer in a controlled way, in a way that protects the interests of the individuals and the interests of the community, is something that has to be top of mind for everyone, quite frankly. I do think that, you know, it will all depend on what happens in the next number of days leading into June. That being said, we still have to follow the rules that are in place. It's going to be a different summer. I think that we should all understand that. It's going to be a time. I drove today down to Bluffers Park to see what was actually happening down there. What I saw is a lot of people, just families that were together, they stayed together. A lot of people were just, you know, creating their separation and distances and so on and so forth. And I think that's good. In Thompson Park, in my own community today, when I was out and about, similar situation was happening. So the point being that you can still enjoy the sunshine, you can enjoy the cool breeze, you can enjoy basically your family, you can watch all of your children run around and what have you, but in a controlled way, and it's limited to your family. Unless the rules change in the next little while, and this will be based on evidence that, you know, it can happen and you're still protected, I think we have to follow the social distancing, physical distancing rules. We also have to wear masks. And whether or not it's the cloth or the surgical ones, if you have them. We were having a problem at the beginning where a lot of our frontline workers, and Kathy, you know this all too well, but a lot of our frontline workers didn't have the necessary mask and equipment that they needed. And of course, we see the supplies come. We see companies in Ontario now are starting to make some of these PPEs and so on. But I think it's important. Cloth masks, they've indicated, are good. But it's, you don't wear a mask to protect yourself. You wear a mask to protect others. And if everybody else is doing that, it reduces the spread of the virus. I think we have to do that.
Right.
Washing your hands, making sure you're clean. Now, here's the interesting thing. Many people I know, they say to me, look at me like, what do you mean wash your hands? We were doing that anyways. And I get that, but were they?
Were they?
Right? Were they?
Right.
And the hand sanitizers, you know, when this epidemic broke, I mean, all I did was went to my basement and got a big tub full of hand sanitizers because I use them all the time.
Okay.
I have been using them for years. Remember, as a politician, I shake a lot of hands.
True.
Now, there's nothing that beats hand washing. That's the best thing to be doing.
That's
right. But in those instances where you can't wash your hands, the hand sanitizers or some, as I said, when it started, I didn't have to go to the store to buy them because I've had them for every election. I have vast amount of hand sanitizers. I had a whole plastic bin that was full of hand sanitizers.
Okay, but
we didn't throw them away. We just kept them. Sorry?
They do expire.
Well, you know what? Here's the interesting thing. So do some of the N95 equipment that we use. But what I'm told, you can still use them.
For like a year.
And I'm not sure about alcohol. The alcohol is still present in the ones that I have.
Yeah.
And as long as the alcohol is in there, I'm rubbing it, baby. I am rubbing it.
Something is better than nothing, always. Something is always better than nothing at this point.
Yeah. So, but then also, you know what? It was only, they were less than 2 years old, right? So you have to remember that because this is the last election. So, but I saw.
What did you do with them all?
Pardon?
What did you do with them?
Yeah. So I still have some personal, and I was able to give some to a number of folks, and we've given to long-term care homes. We've given some, and I also got, you know, what actually happened, I have to tell you, it was interesting because there were people really recognizing that there was stuff happening in Asia, and it was only a matter of time that it was going to happen in Canada. So they had actually stockpiled surgical masks. They had N95 masks, just lots of them, because I was given personally 10,000 units of surgical masks, which I gave to the Scarborough Hospital Network, plus another 1,000 N95s, and then more stuff came in, and we were able to distribute them to varying places because I can't use 10,000 of anything, to be honest with you, masks. So for me, it was important. And what was interesting as well, you know, we've raised a lot of money, for example, with the Scarborough Hospital Network, because there are people who want to give, restaurant businesses and so on, wanting to ensure that the frontline workers and the hospital folks have things so they don't have to stress themselves and worry about it. So all in all, I think, you know, and as a community and as a city, I can say that I think we're at night, I'd say that we're like maybe a 91, 92%.
Okay.
In terms of what we've done and all the things. Now, I know a lot of people have died. There's no doubt about that. It's regrettable. But I think that what we have put in place and the activities and the work that we've done, the collaboration, the outreach, and all the discussions that have happened, how governments actually step up to help people and so on, I think it's been phenomenal, as well as the speed, the time that it's taken. Very quick, very rapidly. So the question that one has to beg to ask and answer is, if you can do it during a pandemic, why can't you do it all the time? Why can't we be more efficient, faster, quicker? And that's part of the restructuring that we're going to go through as a city, to see things done better, faster, and provide more technology applications so that we can make things easier for our citizens. And I think it's really important for us to do that. So the pandemic has created this opportunity for us, and we need to seize it in all different manners, shapes, and sizes and ways.
I absolutely agree. And I'm just going to add, you know, when someone passes during this particular time, you're only allowed 10 people at a funeral. You're dying in a hospital alone. You are not allowed any visitors.
Incredible.
Once you walk into the hospital, your family is on the outside. They cannot come and see you. Now is not a time to get sick because of this, if you can avoid it. It makes no logical sense. If you wear your PPE, protect yourself, protect others, it is such an unnecessary thing to catch, as long as you do the right things. And we all know, like you said, it's common sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I'll tell you about a situation. Someone sent me an email. It was on a Friday at about 5:20 or 5:15. And a member of their family was in one of the hospitals. And the family member, they are saying that it's a young man. They're saying, you know, look, he's on his last days or hours or what have you. He's going to die. And so in our family, you know, the hospital is not allowing us to go and see them and so on. You know, can you help us? And, you know, this hospital has rules and strict measures, especially under COVID and so on. And I don't, you know, want to suggest to you that I can engage and tell the hospital what to do, because I know that as a fact, that's not the case. And in fact, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I did, for the family's sake, I did make the call to the hospital, and I was able to speak to a number of different stages and areas and so on. Finally, I was able to speak to someone who offered the family some comfort, which through my, the engagement, which was, here's a number, call the duty nurse and so on and so forth, and have a conversation and see whether or not she can help you out. And I must say, that family was given that night, the Friday night, half an hour to go and see their son. That half an hour meant the world to them.
That's a long time, because I've heard 5 minutes or 10 minutes.
Right. The half an hour meant the world to them.
Nice.
And these are things that we don't report in the newspaper. These are things that people don't see, the work that you do. But I'm talking about on the phone at 7 p.m. till about 8:30, almost something to 9, trying to make that transaction of time happen. And so most people may not know the work that we do, but I'm happy and gratified that we're able to actually help. And again, it was some amazing nurses and folks at the hospital that I had a chance to speak to. So, my mother was an operating room nurse. One of my relatives was a doctor here in Scarborough, and so on and so forth. So I understand that world a little bit in terms of the dedication and the care that people who work in this space. I'm happy to see now that they're getting the hero status I think that they've long deserved. I just want to see I want to see the trading cards though coming out pretty soon.
The trading cards.
So the trading
They're
cards.
Superheroes.
Right? Well, they are, right? They're just like any of the other superheroes that have trading cards and so on. But
wow. Good for you. Good for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, there's no words. You're awesome.
We definitely got to catch up with you again, because I definitely want to dive into another topic of how the economy is doing and what the economy look like post-pandemic. Yeah. I just feel like a lot of companies are going to pack up their locations and just do everything from work from home or online. Yeah. So what's that going to look like for the Canadian economy? But that's a conversation that we'll have to book for another time.
Sure, I'd be pleased to. I mean, before the pandemic started, we had asked staff to work on a report really looks at the future of work, what that's going to look like. So this just adds to it and so on. So, it's great. So I look forward to it. And thank you. I mean, this has been very refreshing as well. It's a real pleasure to be on your show. I think it's really, I love the title, by the way.
Thank you.
I love the title because, life has a lot of little stripes, right? And it's a little elements, and it's not the big suave things, but it's the stripes, absolutely. So this is fantastic. So it's been fun too. And thank you very much. You guys are easy to work with, which is fantastic. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And for anybody out there who wants to follow our deputy mayor, you can go on his Instagram page, and it is counselor_Thompson. And he's always posting, updating, so you can check in and see what he's up to. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Thompson.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Thank you, Duke. All the best. Take care.
Thank you.
Stay safe and stay healthy.
Everybody has to stay safe. We all have to do our part in staying safe. So
absolutely.
Thank you again. And this has been another episode of Life Stripes with Kathy and Duke. If you like what you saw, please hit that like button, hit the bell, and we'll be back next Monday with another episode. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye. Baby.